the more disorganized you are at home in life, the more chance you are to be dealing with mental health disorders.
Clutter has power. It is a physical manifestation of what's going on inside of you. So by removing the clutter and getting organized, your mind is now free to be clear and to be able to do your job better. When there's an atmosphere of order, you are able to think more clearly. You are able to be more creative.
Neck pain, backaches, headaches, fatigue, the list goes on, and you're likely on it. Tired of the broken system and big pharma? We offer logical solutions, teach you to think critically, and empower you to reclaim your health. Welcome to the Unplugged Healthcast with Dr. Kevin Wall.
Hey, welcome back to the Unplugged Healthcast. Dr. Wall, your host here. Good to have you back. Hey, we're continuing our 3-part series on mental health. And today we're on part 2, and I'm excited to share this topic with you. Have you ever noticed you have piles around the house? What are your countertops looking like? Is there clutter, things left a little bit everywhere? Do you ever notice you struggle finding things because there's too much to sift through? Do you ever forget to pay a few bills? Is the sink full of dishes? Is there clothes all over the floor? Do you have folded clothes, unfolded clothes? Can you get your car in your garage? Goodness. Our topic today is your mess is causing your stress. Have you ever thought about that? Disorganization, by definition, is a state of lacking order or systematic arrangement. This can manifest as messy surroundings or inability to plan, miss deadlines, or create chaos in many systems. Disorganization significantly impacts your mental health. That's why today it is our topic to discuss. We know, and research will back this up, that the more disorganized you are at home in life, the more chance you are to be dealing with mental health disorders. Research says it significantly impacts and increases stress hormones, contributing to feelings of anxiety and depression. Living in a cluttered environment makes it harder to focus. It reduces your life satisfaction and definitely can disrupt your sleep. Living in a cluttered environment is linked to higher levels of stress and can contribute to feelings of anxiety. Clutter triggers a constant low-grade fight or flight. Just having too much around in a disorganized fashion increases your adrenaline levels on a constant basis. This is a response of stress hormones that ends up increasing your cortisol levels. The higher the cortisol, the more inflammation, the more chance for chronic illness. Research indicates that clutter, especially among older adults, can decrease overall life satisfaction and fulfillment in everything you do. People who sleep in a cluttered room are more likely to experience difficulty falling asleep and have disturbed nights of rest. Do you have knickknacks sitting everywhere in many places? Do you know the problem with knickknacks is they call them dust collectors because they collect dust. They're too hard to clean, and they're hard to clean around. The more clutter you have are on the floors, on the counters, in the cabinets, in your bedroom, in your closets, the harder it is to keep a sanitary environment for you to live in. This drastically increases your exposure to dust mites. It results in a higher incidence of allergies, skin conditions. It affects your immune system, makes you more likely to get infections just because you're living in an unsanitary living arrangement. Well, today I want you to welcome into the show who I would call the queen of organization. For us to find solutions, we've brought answers for you today. She's had an organization business for over 20 years. She's been a huge part of our clinic's AFC Physical Medicine, staying organized, staying focused, and consistently keeping the clutter down so we can focus on patient care. More importantly, she lives and breathes organization. She has her spice rack alphabetized and labeled. Her pantry looks like a photo in Pinterest. She can never have a garage sale because anytime anything is laying around too long or is not being used, it's given to Goodwill. She's also a published author. She's published 2 books, one coming out here recently. She's got degrees in public relations and business. And most importantly, she's my favorite person in the world. It's my wife, Dena Wall.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the show. Finally, you've been listening. You've been watching me do these things for a while. We've been talking about doing this podcast for a while. It's good to have you. Are you ready? Are you excited about organization?
I live for organization, so yes, it's my favorite topic.
Well, most people, when you say, let's get organized and let's clean up, most people want to take a nap. And when I see you talk about organization, then you can't go to sleep.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The more cluttered an area is that I go to help people, the better and more fun it is for me.
Yeah, that would be contrary to almost every one of our listeners today. So here you go. You got someone who lives and breathes and loves doing what you hate. Let's figure out how or why. I got to start with an old question I used to say all the time, and I haven't asked for a while. Used to be my favorite question. It still is. It's called, what is your superpower?
Well, I think organization is a superpower, but beyond that, it would be curiosity. I'm very, very curious as to how people live, why they live the way that they do, what they do for a living, how to create systems to better help them, but just curiosity in general.
We both have this conversation often that curiosity, I think, is one of the most important qualities anybody can have, but anybody in leadership needs to be curious. What do you think the biggest benefits you have got out of being curious are?
Oh, I've gotten to know several people. I've been able to serve and help people because what do all my friends and family say after 10 minutes of meeting somebody?
Well, usually they're crying if they're talking to you because they're releasing all information because you're curious and you ask.
And I don't mean to make people cry, but I just get to the heart of who people are because I'm very curious, mainly about their lives, but maybe there's a way that I can help them in some way as well.
Well, it leans for sure into, I think, a topic we talked about last week on our podcast on mental health, that if you're feeling bad about yourself, if you're struggling in physical or mental health issues, some of the best things you can do is be curious. Go find out about others. Go hang out with others. Go help others. Be curious, and you'll find a world out there that you may not have known existed. So, all right, well, we better probably get to some actual topics more relative to organization. I know that you've got a couple degrees in college. We talk about schooling and education as a high priority. I've never asked you this question, but if you had to only have one skill set or you could only do one thing besides utilizing your college education or utilizing your organizational skills, which one would you pick?
Well, obviously, I love school. I've done well in school. I thrive to learn always. I'm always looking for ways to increase my knowledge about different topics. However, I think I would choose organization because you can actually be highly educated and not organized. Therefore, you may struggle in business and in your job around you if you are not organized. So let me give you a little example. So one time we were sitting with our attorney going over our will. Highly educated, highly respected guy, really like him a lot. But the entire time he's talking, I'm trying to focus on his office behind him, which was in complete disarray. And in my mind, I'm thinking, if he can't keep his office in order, can I trust that he's going to keep my paperwork for my future in order? So if you are not organized, it can definitely affect your business. So I would say I would rather be organized than highly book educated.
All right. So bachelor's degree or organization, you're going with organization skills. I think, honestly, after this many years of being around you and watching how it impacts you, me, us, everybody around you, I see you using your organizational skill probably often more than your bachelor's degrees. So I think it's how you live, and it's true to how people should maybe consider living. If you pick that as your number one topic and your number one priority, why? Why is it so important to you, and why should it be important to others?
Well, personally, I like to lower my stress level. I mean, who doesn't want to do that, especially in the world that we live in? And I like to have an atmosphere of order, because when there's an atmosphere of order, you are able to think more clearly. You are able to be more creative. You are able to allow your higher power, or whatever you call it. I'm a Christian, so I say God, to speak into my life when there's a clean, orderly atmosphere. And that is one of the main reasons why I do that. Because if you don't, and you live in a cluttered environment, those items and papers and piles are calling out to you every day, whether you realize it or not. Come get me, come do something with this pile. And if you have those distractions around you, it is extremely difficult to focus on not only the tasks at hand, but the dreams and visions and things that you have for yourself and for those that are living in your home.
You know, it's very obvious to people when they go outside and the air quality is bad, the smog is bad, they notice they can't breathe, they can't see, dust, whatever. We also notice if we live by airports or highways, noise pollution, air pollution. But I think this is mind pollution, isn't it? That when people have all this stuff, clutter around, it speaks to people in almost a loud fashion where you can't hear anything else sometimes.
Absolutely. And here's another reason why it's really important to be organized, is because you want to be a dependable person. Organized people are dependable people because they've organized their time. They're generally not late. They've got a system to their day. They can juggle multiple projects because they're organized for the day. And they generally don't lose things, so they're always ready and available to whatever the task at hand. They can run a smooth household with activities and meetings and kids and their school projects. And all of these things are vitally important. And I decided in my early 20s, so this is way before I was even married or had kids, or even when I was 18, that's the kind of person that I wanted to be, so that I could be available to serve and help other people, and I can also have the ability to pursue the dreams and visions for my own life.
So would you say that it's a skill set people are born with, or it's a choice people make?
I think it's a choice. I think there are some people who are naturally born with the ability to keep things organized. For instance, you have seen 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds where they line up the little cars. You know, they've already got a mindset of systems, and people go into engineering and different fields that require that as well. However, like everything in life, it comes down to a choice. You need to make a decision that that's who you want to be. You need to, it's like in anything, in exercise, you need to make a decision that you want to lower your blood pressure or what have you, whatever your health issue is. So it really is a choice.
I drive around in our neighborhood and other neighborhoods, and sometimes we visit people, and I feel bad at times because I'm always kind of evaluating their spines. And I think that at times you probably notice people's organization levels. What % of people really deal with this type of issue? Is this just a mild thing, or is it more in the epidemic level? I notice these storage units are really popular these days.
Yeah, storage units are very profitable right now. In fact, if that's one business you want to go into, I would probably encourage that. But 54% of Americans are dealing with stress over clutter, and 71% of people with cluttered homes struggle in other areas of their life as well, such as health and weight loss, and in those areas as well. Like you always looking at people's spines, I have a very curious spirit in general, as I said before, but I'm always driving around in neighborhoods where I'm thinking to myself, you have 4 stalled garages. Why are your cars parked outside of your home? Why are you not able to park your cars in the garages? Well, I mean, I know probably the reason why.
Yeah, and I think it affects people's finances as well. I know that organization transfers everywhere. So if we're just leaning on our topic of this podcast, and not to make anyone per se feel, that we're throwing rocks directly at anyone, but to be healthy, to be stress-free, to live a vital life for as many years as possible, sometimes it just takes us making a decision to maybe go back and consider this as a solution, because we're often going to the pharmacy, we go to the gym, we go to the chiropractor. These are all good things. I'm just saying sometimes the most simple things are right at home, right around us. It's such a problem. I know it's relative to mental health. Can you connect the dots for us any better, though, than me just saying it's a mental health problem?
Okay, well, first I want to say, we're not all perfect. So I'm not here to say I'm just this perfect person and we all need to be perfect at everything. But can we be better? Do you want to be better? Those are some of the questions asked, because clutter has power. It is a physical manifestation of what's going on inside of you. And I'm going to repeat that statement again because I think it's super important. Your physical environment is a physical manifestation of what's going on inside of you. So by removing the clutter and getting organized, your mind is now free to be clear and to be able to do your job better, to be more efficient in these areas. Clutter has proven, and you can look it up everywhere, it's proven to cause depression, higher levels of anxiety, failure. It's proven to cause sleep issues. Clutter also causes dirt and dust mites, as we talked about before, which causes allergies. It can cause feelings of failure.
Well, I think as the doctor, or as us being the doctors, I think maybe we should start writing prescriptions for organization. Honestly, if that's true, which it is true, and you physically want to feel better, you physically want to be better, then sometimes you just got to change your physical environment. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and it also affects relationship issues as well. And I'm going to give you some real good examples of that. Many people that I have gone into their homes and organized their homes have kind of become shut-ins because they are so embarrassed about their living conditions that they won't have anybody over anymore. There was a situation with a client that I worked with whose husband was more the organizer, wanted things tidy, and the wife wasn't, and it caused really big marital issues. Why? Because not only does the clutter in the home cause problems, but the disorganization goes into other areas of your life. So for instance, this person was never on time, so the kids were calling the dad at work. This person couldn't get the paperwork in to sporting events, so the dad had to go down to the school and get the paperwork in for sporting events. So you see how it can go into different areas of your life. Another client I had, the kids did not want to go over to the parents' home and even have dinner. Okay, the parents were telling me, like, I don't understand. Well, I'm very hurt. Like, why won't the kids want to come over? The kids personally told me it's because of the clutter. And now we're not talking about a hoarding issue that you see on TV where you have paths. We're just talking about piles and clutter and stuff on the kitchen table. And the kids just didn't feel comfortable. It's not a peaceful environment, and they just didn't want to be there. Another big story that I had with a lady that involves relationship issues that can maybe help you think about your own life is I went over to her house. Her husband died unexpectedly. So it was quite a few months that he had passed, and she never paid a bill in her entire life. So not only was she grieving, but she was unbelievably stressed. So I went into her office. I went through all the files. This is who you pay this to. This is who you pay this to. And it's a very personal project. So if you're hiring an organization person, make sure that there's trust issues there. Okay, because I had to go into her finances and see what was going on. So she wanted me to continue and organize the rest of the home, which took weeks because she was also a shopper. She never paid a bill in her life, so she had no idea what was going on. Okay, after the last few weeks, she laid on her bed in a star position, crying her eyes out, saying, I think I'm ready to get out in the world again. I mean, it makes me emotional thinking about it now, and that was 15 years ago. She said, I think I'm ready to have people into my home again. I'm going to get a decorator and decorate the house now because I feel so free. I mean, just that story alone makes you really think about your own environment and what kinds of people you may be pushing out of your life just because of that.
Yeah, it's huge. And again, that's a classic how mental health, because we need people around us, people that we love, we want them to want to be with us. And simple little things like that can really drive wedges between us and our loved ones. I said at times, that disorganization can really lead to financial issues. I know personally that you keep our bills organized to the point that I don't miss paying bills and then end up paying late fees and end up paying interest. If I have a credit card bill that I have, we pay them off every month. And so I hate interest and I hate late payments. But on top of that, do you have other examples of how maybe disorganization leads to waste or financial decrease?
Well, basically, disorganization is wasteful. Okay, so I went to one lady's house. She lives alone. She had 6 crock pots. Okay, is that going to break the bank? No, but it's wasteful. Why would somebody have 6 crock pots? So I asked her, why do you have 6 crock pots? You live alone. And she's a highly intelligent, successful woman. Well, because I couldn't find the crock pot. So I went and bought another one. And then I couldn't find that one, so I bought another one. And this kind of went through her house. It wasn't just about crock pots, right? So it's super wasteful. I mean, I can guarantee right now, if I went into most everyone's home, I would say 8 or 9 out of 10 people. You have way too many coffee cups. You have way too many candles. I went into a house that had 25 candles, and most all of them were almost done. Some of them were cracked. Okay, I can guarantee in every single house you have way too many towels. You have way too many sheets. You only need 1 extra sheet per bed. Do these little things matter really in the big scheme of finances? Well, they can, because it goes into all different areas of your life. And if you are not organized, guarantee you're late on bills because you can't find the bill, and you're spending way more money on things that you already have at home. It's a big problem.
Yeah, I think people hold on to things for reasons that we probably don't understand. Often it's emotional. Sometimes it's just things in the past we don't want to let go of. And almost those things almost kind of connect us and hold us back. So I would just encourage you that you got to consider letting go of things, either throwing things out, which is painful sometimes. You think there's use, but it's not useful for you, or at least goodwill it, give it away. We have a policy in our house that you've taught me, and that's if I buy some clothes, if I bring in 4 pairs of clothes or 4 shirts or 4 pants or something like that, I have to give away 4 shirts or 4 pants, because there's no way I'm going to wear all that stuff. And so our closets are organized mostly because we just give away things, which is great. People then get to use it before it's out of its lifespan. And so not that I'm really some martyr who's given away tons of clothes. I'm just honestly trying to help myself stay less stressful. Well, all right. Well, we got to get to some real value here. So let's do this. Let's kind of wrap up here towards the end of our podcast. 5 things that you're consistently doing just around the house that people could look at as you leading by example. Maybe they can do it, maybe they can't, but what do you do? Maybe the top 5 things that you believe keep us organized.
Okay, I had to really think about this because things over the years now have become pretty natural to me. But one of the things that I've been doing since I was in high school is I write it down. You can use your phone, but I like paper for this particular project, is I write down every single night, 8 to 9 a.m. I'm working out, 9:30 I have a meeting till 11:30. I write everything down. On the side of those notes, I write A or B. A's are things I absolutely need to get done that day. B's are things that would be awesome if I did, but if I didn't, I can roll it over to day 2. But all of this organization helps me because then the night before I'm putting things at the door that I might need the next day, such as returning books to the library. I have a meeting. I'll put my folder at the door with my meeting notes. I'll put the books at the door with my other items that I'm bringing for that day. So that really keeps me on track. It's just so important. We have to be able to write things down. You can't just rely on your brain to remember all the details and things that you need to do with your day. The other thing that I do I definitely did this when the kids were little, and I still do it just because it's ingrained in me, is I meal prep for the entire week. So I know every night what we're having for dinner. I still cook at home quite a bit. Sometimes I don't, whatever, but I meal prep for the entire week so that you're not standing in the kitchen on a Wednesday going, I don't know what to have for dinner, and then you just order a pizza, which A, isn't good for you, and B, it just costs more money the more times you do that. But when you meal prep, you've got a system for the week on what's going on. Plus, when the kids were little, they stopped asking me what we were having for dinner because I put it on a chalkboard on the wall. That's another thing that you can do. I also have a weekly list of chores because I do clean my own home. So on Mondays, I do the floors. On Tuesdays, I do the sheets, so on. And I know some of you are saying, oh, well, that's really nice because you don't have to go to an office 8 to 5 anymore. But here's the thing. I did do that, and I did have kids, and I homeschooled the kids. So I know what a crazy schedule is like. And I would do it early in the morning or I would do it late at night. Now, thankfully for me, I am a night owl, so that does help. I understand that. But it's just something that I think is important. The other thing that I do is I attack the mail. Okay, we could literally have a whole podcast just on mail because every time I go to somebody's home, they want to talk about it.
It does seem to be the most common thing I see on people's counters, and it really gets overwhelming because there's bills, there's things you should get to, and those sit in the back of your head, and man, those jack with me, just thinking I got a bill I should pay, but I don't want to open the mail, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, and so I recommend, I get the mail like every 2 to 3 days. I don't get it every single day. And when I do get it, I'm at a state where I'm ready to tackle it. It's not like I'm just coming in the house really quick. So I take it and I have it right next to a garbage can, and a lot of it is junk. And I throw it, and then I have a bin for things that I want to read because I travel quite a bit and I take things on the airplane. So I'll have a bin for that. And then I have a bin for to-dos. So you have to set up maybe just 2 or 3 bins, whatever those are for your family, so that you can put it in there, put it in that bin, put it in that bin. So then it's not on the counter. Because what I do see is people getting their mail every day sometimes, and they're just piling up. And bills get left in there. They get stuck in there. They don't know when to pay the bill. And then, now you're into a financial situation. So I attack the mail. And the last thing I guess I do is I do at least 2 loads of laundry every week, but I always put the house to bed. Have you ever heard of that term?
I haven't.
Put the house to bed. Okay, put the house to bed means at night, and I know you go to sleep earlier than I do, so you don't even...
I'm already in bed before you put the house to bed.
You don't even know about put the house to bed. Okay, put the house to bed is I go around the house just quickly, and I make sure everything's picked up. So shoes on the floor, baseball hats.
Uh-oh.
And baseball hats left out. You're pretty good, but the baseball hats sometimes get left out. And then I make sure there isn't a dish in the sink. I can't stand getting up in the morning and not having a restful start of the day with the atmosphere and the house being in order. I wipe down the counters. I make sure everything's just cleaned up. Those are probably my top 5.
Well, that's quite a list, and for some of you, it may seem overwhelming, and that's okay. You don't have to do all of it. In fact, if you just did any of it, you'd be shocked. Just sometimes changing one habit, doing one thing different, cleaning up one pile, one drawer. I know when you go to houses that you start helping somebody, you don't say, let's do it all. You usually start in one room, and usually you start in one drawer. And once they get one drawer done, then they start to kind of get hope, and they think it's possible. And then you do two drawers. Next thing you know, you got a room. And then all of a sudden it's two rooms, and it's like building momentum, isn't it? And people start to really get hope and then energized about it. And next thing you know, they're organized.
Right. I think the first step is, like I mentioned before, you have to decide to be organized and live a healthier lifestyle. You need to decide that now's the time. Let's get with this. And then just take one drawer. Okay, set the timer for 15 minutes, but tell yourself you're not answering the phone, of course, unless it's your kids or your husband, but you're not answering the phone. You're going to set the timer for 15 minutes, and you're going to tackle this drawer. And you're going to put a garbage can next to it, and you're going to sort like items. Here's all the pens. Here's all the pencils. Here's all the scissors, that type of thing. And you're going to set up a system for that drawer. Okay, and that is how you start. And I remember when I hired a trainer at the gym in my 20s, he told me something that was really, that applies to this. He said, when you're on the Stairmaster and you're going for 15 minutes at whatever level, okay, that's great. Tomorrow, put it to 17 minutes. The next day, you bump it up to 20 minutes. Can you do 3 extra minutes? Of course you could do 3 extra minutes. So that's how you start out with the drawer. Maybe you wait a couple days and then you set the timer for 30 minutes and you tackle 2 drawers. Because if you look at your whole house as a whole, you're going to get so overwhelmed and not do anything. And that's not what you want to do.
All right. Well, I was curious on the 15 minutes. So do they go 15 minutes, and if they didn't get anywhere, or get very far, they just quit and then pick it up? Even if they didn't get through one drawer, that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you're just trying to make progress towards something, right? And you need to take time to create systems as well. Having systems is probably one of the vital parts about organization, because you have somewhere to put things. So when the kids were little, I had these decorative wicker baskets that were really cute, and I put them on the wall. When they came home from school, they put their papers in each slot, right? And then while they were eating their snack and getting ready for dinner, I would go through the bins and see what kinds of things I needed to take care of. And then I put it in my to-do basket. So it's really important to have systems like that can help you. You can also hire a professional organizer, or even a friend that's really good at it that can come over and make it fun. Some of those suggestions would be helpful.
All right. Well, we've definitely given a lot of information. I think we're going to wrap it up, but I got one more question, or at least maybe to give advice, because I hear when you come back from jobs or people that you're helping and places that you're organizing, probably the biggest obstacle that I think you see that everybody out there listening is dealing with is the inability to throw something away. Mm-hmm. How do you help people get rid of things? Because it's not that they need it, it's not that they're using it, and half the time it's not that there is any use in it. Hoarding is a major epidemic today, and I think we're all sliding towards that way. There's so many things we have in our life that we seemingly need, but how do people throw things away?
Well, organization, let's face it, takes work. And when people hire me, I recognize that they could only do about 3 hours at a time. And these are people that are really like ready to go, right? I'm very kind about it, but I'm very firm about it. So I'll take an item and say, okay, seriously, like this candle, and I'll try to help them see the truth and the reality of the item. This candle is almost, I'm thinking about a project I did. This candle is almost worn out. You only have and you have 20 other candles. You don't need this. So I'm pretty firm about it. And they generally start laughing and go, you're right. Like, I don't need that. You know, you've had this dress for 10 years and you've never worn it. You're never going to wear this again, because we as humans only wear 20% of what we have. So I'm working through that process with them.
Dr. Bach, our business partner, and you've maybe listened to one of our podcasts on gluten where they talked about it. He does something that I think is relevant. Every year at the beginning of the year, he takes all of his clothes and shirts and he turns them like inside out or something. And if at the end of the year they're still inside out, he knows he hasn't worn them. Then he gives them all away. Simple techniques like that, decisions that you're not going to live this way, those are huge. But just small steps, little steps, throw something away, give something away, move something, get it out of the way. All those things we're pleading for you because your life depends on it. It sometimes really does. Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, I think we're going to have to wrap it up here. If they were to actually hire an organizer, what's an organizer cost to help them get out of these problems? Because maybe they think it's thousands of dollars. What is an hourly rate for a typical organizer?
Well, a typical organizer back in the day when I was just starting my business was they were charging $100 an hour. I didn't feel like doing that because I really did it to serve people and help them have more clarity and joy in their life. So I would say you're probably not going to get an organizer for under $50 an hour, but somewhere between $50 and $100 an hour. Yeah.
And what if they want you to help them organize?
I'm available. I guess you'd have to contact the podcast.
All right. Well, there you go. If you're looking for help in organization or you have questions that Dena could answer, she's more than happy, I think, to probably field your questions, give you advice, and maybe come and help you get started, because sometimes that's all it takes. So just email us at podcast@drkevinwall.com. You'll find it in our show notes. If you go to our website, you can leave me a message. Go to our website anyway, look at our other episodes and share these episodes with others, because most people, they get stuck. They don't know what to do, so they do nothing. And we just try to get you to do something. And here's a chance. Get your house cleaned up. Get your life cleaned up. Your mess is creating your stress. And we are signing off today from the Unplugged Healthcast. Always remember, be healthy, be blessed, never give up, never give in, but get organized. We'll see you soon on the next episode.
The information provided in this podcast is for general knowledge and informational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional for diagnosis and treatment of any medical condition. The views and opinions expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Unplugged Healthcast or Dr. Wall.